Good evening, everybody. It is wonderful to be here this evening. What time is it? Oh, it's late. But after I get the kids to bed and, be an outlaw who does outlaw shit. Just kidding. Not really. Thanks, James, for that one. But hold on. My Facebook likes to hide what I do. So I'm going to turn it to public. And I'm hearing an echo of myself real quick. It sucks having to do this, but you know how it goes when Facebook is up. Okay, so I've decided that I'm going to start doing like recaps of things going on across the nation, in Canada, whether they're shorts of other people speaking truth to people with their lunacy. Because after sitting here and waiting to speak on like the most ridiculous legislation today, and never being called on, getting kicked off, my link being miraculous, so it's all going to go to the Senate anyway. It doesn't matter. Like, you can be like, this is already a law. This violates the Constitution. I mean, it doesn't matter with these people. But my voice will be heard. It's going to go to the Senate. There's just, that's the way it is. So they will all feel my wrath. I will go down and spend days down there once it's already there. I'm just not going to truth bomb truth twice, because it's not as effective. But I don't know if you guys, this is, let me see. So I'm going to start doing these recaps because we have got to start speaking truth, and not even to power, to people without power. Because when you speak truth, and this is why I guess I've become feared, respected, whatever, is because I'm extremely intelligent. You can't battle me when it comes to being an American, the Constitution, but especially education. But also is that I was talking to somebody earlier who had a conversation with Van Valkenburg or Schuler after I was in the Senate last week. And he made a comment about that woman who came up and read that book. He said that was really ballsy. And this person was like, you don't know her. Is that you're giving these to our children. I've been to the Board of Education. I've been to Chesterfield County. This is talking about butthole, hanging people from ceilings. Why are you giving this to children? Gosh, me. But so, right. So this was a couple hours, I guess this was 9 hours ago. Tucker's on his tour, and he had some really great advice, and I wanted to share it with y'all. He's talking about, if you're not aware of what's going on in Canada, Jordan Peterson just lost his appeal in court. They literally, for him to keep his license, he has to go to re-education camp, and he refuses. Bravo, Jordan. You're my people. Principled to the nth degree, because you know it is at stake. But then this came up with Tucker, and it's you can find it on, actually, while I'm thinking about it, I will post it in the comments. See, that was me trying to get in to the miraculous disappearing Zoom. Let's see. This is going. It looks like it just went to YouTube for some reason, but I will post on Facebook all the links too. Or you can just look it up. Tucker's message to Canadians. This was today. He's talking in the full thing with Jordan Peterson, and is that he has a great advice. I mean, when he was on Fox and he was doing the bought and paid for news journalist thing, I hated him but when he finally came out and was like, no, dude, this is total respect, because at some point, I mean, we've all been there, lied about who we are, what we know, but we've come out and, with humility and owned it, and then gone full force forward. Bravo. Anybody that does that, you just don't wait till it's over. So he's talking about Justin Trudeau here.
that, which is very effective. And I know it's not the Canadian way because it's such a polite society that everyone feels morally bound to take everyone else's point of view very seriously and sort of not.
So he just got done talking about the power of laughing at the lunacy and calling these people, is that people get so angry, not just my husband when we get in our, but when it's something so beyond, like, just laugh, just being like, you're a lunatic. Like, this is lunacy. This, like, is that they get really, is that there's a lot of way to combat this, but he just got done opening up, talking about the power and taking your power back by something just as simple as being like, no, like, this is lunacy. Like, is that just saying something?
Nod gravely and pretend to consider their perspective. But there are some perspectives that aren't in fact perspectives, they're attacks on you. And that's the main thing that I want to say in the short time allotted today, is that you should recognize what is happening to you. This is not a political debate to which you've been invited to participate. This is a destruction of you and your culture and your beliefs and your children and your future as a country.
And I hope that anybody watching this isn't like, oh, well, that's just Canada. Okay. Can we learn from Canada? Maybe. We're almost at Canada. Anybody that doesn't understand that, or anybody that's still walking around being like, God, Virginia's great. America is in such a great place right now. I mean, the news just said the economy is booming and therefore Joe Biden is amazing. So, I mean, anybody walking around not understanding what a horrific place we are in right now as a nation, but especially as a Commonwealth, I welcome you to step out of the matrix or just peek out of it, because I don't know what kind of blue pill you're on, what kind of fuzzy world, but is that we're there, we're here. What's going on in the General Assembly right now is we're here.
And that's not overstatement. It's provable statistically. So just take 3 steps back. If you have a government that is giving fentanyl to your children, as they are in BC, I notice you're...
Are we there yet? With fentanyl, okay, fentanyl. That's what I'm strictly yet, because we're fighting to stop it, when what you have to do to stop it is close the GD borders, because it's coming from China to Mexico at the border. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about, oh my God, okay, it's not being made here. It's being imported from China through the border. So are we British Columbia giving fentanyl to children yet? No. But how many times have we said that and waited? Are we going to read the writing on the wall? Because if you don't think from 5 years from now, they're going to be giving, or I would say 2 years with a year, is that safe needles in the school clinic for your kids as they're ODing in bathrooms and dying. And it's not just Loudon and Fairfax. Yeah. If you don't know about what's going on in your high school bathrooms, maybe middle school, you better find out. Because our governor made an executive order that parents must be notified within 24 hours of their child ODing in public school. Okay. I don't know if anybody else can find how many things wrong with that there are. Parents must be notified if your child ODs in a bathroom in public school. Okay, that's not something that we should go. You know, it's like, yes, I did the lot. It's like, start asking yourself, is this the freest nation in the world? But parents, you have to executive order something that says parents must be notified if your child ODs in public education. Are we living, like, that's not something that we go, Governor, this is such an amazing idea. No. And we have to stop applauding things that don't deserve being applauded. Like, no, that's why if you haven't, come and take it, 14A under my name, 14th Amendment, like that's what this whole thing is back here. Come and take it. That would be the due process for parental rights. And I think I've destroyed parental rights like 100 times. It's not up for debate. It's not. And if you want to not learn how to fight for them, or I don't know, do the due diligence when they're taken from you by the school that you send your children into, because you don't think that in the freest nation in the world, you're legally required to send your children to school. But then once you do that, you don't have a choice in what happens there. I understand that for decades, we've all been brainwashed. But just remember that this is the American experiment and we're failing miserably. And just ask yourself, is this how the freest nation in the world, is this what they do? No.
Premier has a no fentanyl to kids policy. God bless her. I know, and you're applauding. I mean, and I'm applauding, and I'm grateful. But how distorted is your world where you have to applaud the one politician's like, we're not going to give fentanyl to the kids today. Okay, but then take 2 steps further back from that and ask yourself, if someone's giving fentanyl to your children, what's kind of the message of that? Well, they're trying to kill your children, obviously. Fentanyl? It's the #1 cause of death under 40 in the United States. #1 in the whole country, followed by suicide. If you want to know where we are, we're about 2 years behind you. And
okay,
we have a larger media space than you do.
I haven't watched this whole, so we're about 2 years behind, and I would probably in this area I would guesstimate to Chess Tucker about 2 years behind Canada. Just guesstimation. Let's see. There's another portion. So
it's all people who are from here. And now the government brags, oh, we're saving money because they died. That's the darkest thing I can imagine. I bet there's zero conversation about that in this country because I know this country and I know what it's like. It's too horrible. No one wants to talk about it. You should like it.
I want to go back
Christmas dinner than you do that we aren't ahead of you. But if someone's applauding, and I'm grateful, but how distorted is your world where you have to applaud the one politician's like, we're not going to give fentanyl to the kids today?
Okay, so I want to focus on that for a minute. Like, we're applauding politicians and we are not holding them accountable for the lunacy going on. And there's actually a form of tyranny known as mobocracy, where allowing chaos to continue is a form of tyranny. So is calling out what is what and what is not. And so I would encourage everybody to go. Tucker's Message to Canadians is a part of a panel with Jordan Peterson, who just lost his appeal in Canada. There's a great video on YouTube with him and his why re-education. Do you really think that we're that far? No, absolutely not. And then I just wanted to go through a couple of clips. Not quite so serious, but that one was pretty awesome. But I wanted to go through a couple clips. Let's see. Where's the one of Jordan Peterson? I was on here and it started with Candace Owens, and somebody said something ridiculous. And it was the moment when Candace Owens, she just destroyed her. And she was like, I'm just too pregnant for this. And the person was like, and so there's a couple clips because there are things that are okay to say if you still operate under the assumption that we have to be politically correct. To people who hate us, want to take our children, take our rights. Your political correctness needs to go out the door, because that's part of the setup here, is that we have generationally been predisposed to muting ourselves. We can't be politically correct. It's impossible. It's impossible. So what I tell people, as long as there is love in your heart and truth in your mouth, speak the truth. I hate speak your truth. Speak the truth. No, this is America. This is not how it works. I don't know if y'all know this, but so the way that a two-party system, as broken as it works is that you have to be no matter who's in power, it has to be constitutional. Okay. And you have to follow the Constitution. You have to know how, a constitutional republic with a democratic representative form of government works. You have to know these things. Like, you can be a Republican conservative. You can be a loony left. You can be a moderate Democrat, but they got rid of all them. Is that it's not a revenge system, as I don't know if y'all been following what's going on in Spotsylvania, is you don't get to be elected to school board and come in and be like, oh, well, we hated that superintendent. We fought for him. You're fired. Like, but the same thing, like, is that we can't go like, oh, House House, Senate, blue, red. Blue is that it's a lie to begin with, but it doesn't go, oh, like we're going to do revenge. Like we don't like what you did, because that's what we think. That's why it's been revenge politics. Like, but the fact is that they go hard after, like hard in the wrong way. And we've sat by and we've allowed our elected representatives who are supposed to be right of center to represent us. That's how it works here. The constituents, not the governor. They don't get elected to go support the governor's conservative agenda. Cleanse start can't. Is that they are we the people, no taxation without representation. That's where that comes from. That would be like the Declaration of Independence. So I live in a county where we have no taxation. We have representation. We don't have representation. So therefore, we have somebody that is now in office, and the only thing he's there to do is be King George's prop. And so therefore, I'm like, it's time for another Declaration of Independence. Is that if you're in one of those divisions where you have somebody who's strictly there to prop up the governor, no matter who they are, that's the problem, is that you see what happened with a blue. It's absolute lunacy. It's, absolute lunacy. But if it was reversed, or even when it was red-blue, it was never the other way around. But not even in a revengeful, hateful, I'm going to destroy your world and everything that this country is made of way. Okay, we're talking about an aggressive way to restore what was broken for years prior. Okay, we had 4 years with this guy. Like we had 4 years with at least a House of Delegates and a non-insane Senate, with people like Spurrier and the non-Looney Tune Democrats that were still in office, that would sit down and have conversations and listen. And in that time, and even as we peer the corner of this governor exiting office, nothing has been restored to make Virginia function as part of a constitutional republic with a United States Constitution. Is that nothing has been restored, and that is he's the executive power, just like the president is on day one. You restore anything unconstitutional, it's like, is that what is it going to take? What is it going to take? If we're 2 years behind Canada and they're giving fentanyl to children in British Columbia, people are up there like Jordan Peterson getting their licenses taken away and going to if they don't go to re-education camp. What do you think is coming? What are you waiting for? I'm 43 years old. What is today? The 25th? In 4 days, I'll be 44. 4 days, 44. But anyway, like I have a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old. If you're not don't have the mentality in your brain that what you're freely giving away, your children literally will not have. I don't know how else to tell people to mount up. So this is just a video of how, and it's important to understand that it's not wrong to correct somebody's lunacy. Okay, if it is madness, it is like your duty to yourself and to the world to call it out for what it is. Because us, again, like I said, sitting here and being like, I don't even know why people are afraid anymore. You should really be afraid of what's coming.
Reads, I will educate myself. So my poster reads, life begins when you understand living women matter more than potential babies.
If it's a potential baby, what is inside of a woman?
It's a fetus.
Is it living?
No.
How can it grow if it's not living?
Actually, that's like saying if an acorn is a tree.
When does the fetus become living?
That's actually a good question, but that line.
Yeah, of course, because you don't know it, because it's living. It's living. No, when is sustainability?
21. About like 30 weeks to born,
How do you sustain life? Like my newborns aren't sustainable. You can't just have a newborn and they just like live on their own. right?
Right.
Is a newborn not worthy of life?
Uh,
Is a newborn not worthy of life?
so my poster reads,
Is these conversations have to be like we're not talking about like this is the far like the loony end of the spectrum is living mothers are more important than what is her poster
life
saying?
begins when you understand living women matter more than potential babies.
But look how proud she's like. I made this ridiculous poster and I'm going to get over here and read it. And then my ridiculous friends are going to applaud me. And I'm going to stand here like this. Ah, I did it. Living women matter more than potential babies. How many abortions are given each year to save a mother's life? I can tell you that out of like 680,000 last year, maybe like a handful. So that argument just needs to go out the window. I have a friend who was dying. This is the whole like thing that people have to have. A friend who was dying, and in an ambulance, they were able to gas her, open her, get the baby. They both lived. And so why people think that you have to abort a baby, excuse me, I've been sitting in the damn Senate or the House too long. Abort a viable living child. Okay. I gave birth to my son at 22 weeks gestation because his heart had stopped beating. I gave birth to him because I refused to have a D and E, which is different than a D and C. I encourage people to look up what a dilation and dilation curettage versus dilation evacuation. I refuse to have that done to my child. So I made the most painful decision of my life, which was to give birth to my son who was no longer living. Is that why people jump to, well, we have to, again, remember, I have a friend who was crashing. They gassed her because back in the day, guys, you can be gassed and be out and have surgery performed on you. That's how they used to do it. They gassed her and they had a PA, thank God, physician's assistant on a surgical rotation. And they called the hospital and the doctor made the call. Gas her. We're going to lose them both by the time you get here. Gas her. So she's knocked out. Cut the baby out. Get her here alive. The baby was full term. So why people have this is that the mother's dying. Start asking these questions. In what circumstance? Because do you know how long it takes to put a mother under, and then the time it takes to what they have to do to the baby to then get it out and then save the mother? That argument has to go. So you're telling me that you can save a mother? That entire argument has to go until you and then figure out what they have to do to get that baby out of the mother to then save the mother. No, we're not talking about that. That number is so little that we're not even talking about that. Okay. Is these conversations have to be had. It's like I was sitting there waiting today to testify on Tim Griffin, but is because they want to make taxpayers pay for abortions, and so he has a bill in. I don't know if you guys are aware that when Roe v. Wade was done away with, Roe v. Wade had it built in that it was not taxpayers' dollars would not ever fund abortions. So when Roe v. Wade was done away with, it opened up all of these states. It's like oh well, you're gonna ban which Roe v. Wade was never constitutional to begin with. Okay, what's not in the Constitution or goes to the states. So a Supreme Court ruling that states must do anything regarding abortion is abortion in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. No, it's not. So it's never constitutional to begin with. So people that are so angry with Roe v. Wade, no, this is America. This is not where it should have ever been there to begin with. But Roe v. Wade had a built-in, what was it called? The Hyde Amendment, I think, that it would never pay for. So of course now they want us to fund other people's abortions. Which that argument was actually used by the left regarding the death penalty, because, you know, our tax dollars keep prisons open and we're funding the death penalty. So that's how you kind of flip it on them there. But that was actually one of the ways that they managed to get rid of the death penalty, and that is by saying that we don't agree with this. So, but I was researching. Let me see if I still have it. It'd be really great if I did. Oh, I do. I'm just going to show you this. So I was researching, getting ready to speak on this bill that now has been moved again. And I found a letter. Just throw this out there. This would be 1994. This would be United States Senator Joseph Biden. Yes, the United States Senate. Okay. Mr. Michael Gregg. Mr. Gregg, thank you for your postcard on healthcare reform and abortion services. You say in your postcard that most Americans don't want to pay for abortion services and ask, please don't force me to pay for abortions against my conscience. I agree with you. So when that comes up, you know, I'll let is that he goes on to say, the government should not tell those with strong convictions against abortion, such as you and I. I'm sorry, what? Such as you and I? That we must pay for them. Joe Biden. Same Joe Biden. That's the great thing about old stuff, is that they haven't been able to destroy it because everything's done electronically now. So it was when it was scanned in and like microfiche and stuff. It's a lot more tedious to get rid of this kind of stuff. So Joe Biden doesn't believe that abortion should be paid for by the public, and he also strong convictions against abortion. Just FYI, you know, keep that, you know, just a random thought, because I have this. I just like showing people that kind of stuff. But it's okay, not just okay, but you need, like, this girl right here. This is just classic.
Using a leftist logic against him never gets old.
Are you voting for Trump?
Yep.
White supremacist.
How? How can you say that?
If you vote for Donald Trump, you're a white supremacist.
How?
Because you support that man in office.
That's not an argument. I'm gonna need proof that makes me a white supremacist. You're gonna have to break down the argument.
It's not my job to say that.
You just accused me of being a white supremacist. You should be able to back that up.
Are you voting for Donald Trump?
I sure am.
That's my proof.
Are you voting for Joe Biden?
Yes, I am.
Then you're a pedophile.
No.
You're a pedophile. You like to sniff kids.
Using a leftist logic again.
Is that start asking the questions. I'm a what? I'm a racist because equity is destroying the brains of Black children because they're being pushed through without an education that's proven. We're 50th in the nation for fourth grade literacy. Fourth grade literacy is how they forecast prison matriculation. So you speak for the historically marginalized. How, as the ACLU, Equality Virginia, or NAACP? I'm getting confused here. I'm a white racist. What mother? Why? Because I'm actually speaking for the fact that we are 50th in the nation, but you don't want children to have discipline because it is the school to prison pipeline, but it is literally the school to prison pipeline because they do prison matriculation forecasting using fourth grade literacy, and we are 50th, and I'm the only one in the room here after 80 of you have talked about how much Black history is being whitewashed, but your Black children can't read, which is going, that's how they forecast prison matriculation. So what about this? What am I missing here? I'm a racist because I'm speaking truth that you don't like? Or what is the, is it these, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to have a vast amounts of knowledge like that, or the balls that I do, but is that, okay, I'm a white supremacist. Why is that? Can you explain that to me? No, it just goes in a circle. Like it's just a circular, to like, They can't explain it, and what they do is that it's so lunacy. Is it? It'll just go. No, it's just because it is. It is because it is. It is because I say it is. And they're so used to people doing that because we've allowed it for so long that when you put the full stop, no, I'm not a white supremacist. I'm actually probably the least racist. Guess what? I'm not a transphobe either. I'm not homophobe. I have lots of gay friends. Is that I know lots of transsexuals, which is not transgender. Transsexuals do not agree with this. Is that no? You're more than welcome to do whatever you want to do with whomever you want to do. Not talking about children, not grooming children, not doing it to children without parents knowing, not teaching them what you're teaching. You're welcome to do it as an adult in an adult environment away from children. There's no hate in that. They hate that you're not going to let them destroy your children is what they hate. And then therefore, when you can put that into logical, and so sometimes it takes but I guarantee you, if you find the balls to do it one time, I tell parents all the time, find the strength to stand up for your child or just speak truth one time. Do you know how easy the second time is? And I'm not saying that, like I've always said, I was born this way. This did not come out of left field. I didn't have to train myself to do this. This is how I've always been. The heroes of this story will not be the rebels. The heroes of this story will be those who know it's wrong, see it's wrong, question what's going on, do the work to figure out how it's wrong, exactly why it's wrong. But is that those who overcome their fear and stand up, they will be the heroes of this story. Not me. Because why? Because I was born this way. It's manifested itself in 10 different ways. But it's just at 40 years old, it found its purpose. It is finding your strength and go back to the beginning and watch what happened to Jordan Peterson. Watch Tucker Carlson today with Jordan Peterson. We're 2 years behind Canada. Think about it. Just think about it. And then think about, I just remember hearing a podcast with G. Van Fleet talking about living in Mao's China. You have two choices. You can pray about it. You can stand up, speak out, or you can pray you live through it to then stand up and speak out. That's where we are. And I just want to close with it. There's some really good ones. Let's do a Candace. I should close with Candace Owens. So I had the pleasure of meeting Riley Gaines last month at Jeff Sachs in Spotsylvania or Fredericksburg, his announcement party for D7. And just hearing the words out of her mouth, knowing what she had to live through. And it was disgusting, but hearing it, knowing what I know and how absolutely amazing that she is to be telling, but as a girl, still a young girl, imagine being 18 or 19, like a freshman in college, excelling in your sport. And then all of a sudden you look over and all of a sudden you have a 6'4" man, full genitalia in your face, and nobody's doing anything about it. And this is how they're telling you now that you have to exist. I just love Candace destroys it right here.
Boy who won the girls wrestling state championship, do you think that he should have been allowed to compete in that division?
I think that a man taking down a woman on a map should warrant a call to the police. If they want to have their own division, go for it.
Right there. is that that's where biology comes in. It's like we have co-ed bathrooms. Okay. Is that it's not hard to find the evidence that men overpower women. It's biological. Okay. Their genetics are different. You can't just decide that away. They are biologically stronger. Is that it's the same thing like the fact that we don't have a problem. These are contact sports. So we're not just talking about swimming now. But it doesn't go the other way, is what Riley said. Is that so after Leah Thomas Thompson was swimming on the female side, they then had a transgender, the flip-flop, but a female to male transgender would never go swim on the boys' side. So there was a male to female transgender on the girls whooping because it's and then that swimmer actually she sucked on the male side but was dominating the female side. But then you had a female to male transgender on that side also, because going to the male side, she would get her ass literally circled all day long. So make that make sense logically. Which one is it? You don't get it both ways. Is it? No, if you're going to have biologically dominant males taking down, beating, like taking down, throwing to a mat females, no, we're not doing that. That's assault. That's what it is. And so I'm going to close with that. I could go through these things all night. Maybe a little humor. I'm thinking I need a little humor. I was literally rolling on the floor laughing at this, and my daughters were like, "What in the hell?" Because it's about free speech, and it's really funny. Hold on. Okay, it's probably the most. Hold on. Shh. Okay, sorry. It's hilarious because if you think, okay, the First Amendment.
Amendment absolutist. I believe in only two things completely: the First Amendment and boobs. Once they made the decision that they were not going to allow a conservative, non-sports related commentary.
Hold on.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly as a woman anchoring the show. Did you say you believe in the First Amendment and BWOBS?
Boobs. Two things that have only never let me down in this entire country's history: the First Amendment and boobs.
Why would you even say that live on national television?
Because it's the First Amendment. The only thing not protected by the First Amendment is obscenity. So I just wanted to end with that because my daughter, like, it was so, I mean, but I feel like a year ago, I would have just laughed. I would have been like, why is that? Why, what does that even mean? Like, why is this on this? Why, like, and now because I understand how the freest nation in the world works, I get the hilarity of that. Why is that even okay for you to say? Because my favorite things in the world are the First Amendment and boobs. Like, BWOBS. I'm so offended by that. But the Candace was the one where she destroyed the girl, where she was like, how it was a trans woman. I'm still not sure. And it said, how do you feel about the fact that I am so offended by you being here today? And Candace goes, go get a helmet. The world is not fair. I'm too pregnant for this. Is that if my existence offends you, but I've done nothing to offend you, go get a helmet. Like, it's like, the world's not fair. And if any, that's the thing, is that the world's not fair. You're going to get screwed over 10 times, bent over sideways. Guess what? If you're going to figure it out now, you're going to figure out, but you can't, I mean, your snowflake's going to melt and you're going to be a puddle on the floor because you can't, there's not going to be enough safe spaces. Or is that go get a helmet? Like, she just destroyed her. Is it, if the fact that I'm here offends you, it's a free country still. Sorry, go get a helmet. I mean, but yeah, I'm going to watch it again because it's just really, let's watch it again, and then I'm going to go.
Absolutist. I believe in only two things completely: the First Amendment and boobs. Once they made the decision that they were
Wait,
not
did you
going
just
to
say
allow a
you believe in the First
conservative,
Amendment
non-sports
and-
related commentary.
Hold on.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly as a woman anchoring the show. Did you say you believe in the First Amendment and BWBF?
She says, as a woman anchoring this show.
Boobs. Two things that have only never let me down in this entire country's history: the First Amendment and boobs.
Why would you even say that live on national television and with a female host?
Because I like boobs and the First Amendment, which is
Like, would he ever have said that had it not been pushed to the point? I'm willing to bet my house, my car, everything that I had, that man, had he never had been, that is not something that would have ever come out of his mouth had he not been pushed to the point where he had to be on TV saying that his two favorite things are the First Amendment and boobs. That's not something that we don't want to be here, but we have to be here saying the things that are. I just love that. I mean, it's like I'm gonna. But I was cackling with my daughters were like, "What are you laughing at?" And because it is so basic, it is so simple. Like, but it's also something that I would say that a year or two ago I would have been like, what does this even mean? But it's the irony. It's amazing. I believe in the First Amendment and boobs. I believe in giving birth to my children and you keeping your hands. I don't just believe in that. Like, that's the First Amendment. 14th Amendment is due process, parental right. Is that we want to get into that. But come and take it at the bottom of my name is how everybody, when we talk about parental rights, is that if you don't know how to argue it or where it comes from, you can go on my Facebook, and I've destroyed about 8 million times people about where parental rights come from. And then closing is people who want to hate God. And not just my God in general, because our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people, not Christian, religious people. Is your natural right, human rights, natural rights come in this nation are endowed by our Creator. So you don't get to get rid of God and still be free. You don't get it both ways. Which one is it? Okay, because where your natural rights come from is from our Creator. So you get rid of God, you don't have your natural rights. Which one is it? It's those kind of things that you have to start being like, which one is it? You can't have both ways because they want it both ways. They want their cake. They want to eat it too. They want your kids' cake. They really, really want your kids' cake. They want your cake. They want it. At the end of the day, they're going to have all the cake. We're going to have no houses. We're going to have nothing. And our kids are going to love it. And we're going to be like, I should have stood up and did something. So that's it. It's late. Go to bed. Peace out. Wake Up Winchester. Anybody in that area? We'll be there on Saturday all day with Dr. Fury and a whole bunch of amazing patriots, mountain patriots. There are still seats available. Can't wait. Love gets a haul from Chesterfield County, but I love going up there and being with my people and speaking truth. Dr. Fury has an hour. I have an hour. It's a whole day of other speakers. It's an amazing organization. Since we first started, I spoke at the first one in Dana Mark Brun. I mean, those people are just amazing. So if you are not aware of Wake Up Winchester and the movement for children freedom in America that has been started there, no. We'll be there. I think I'm speaking around 1, but Dr. Fury will be there. She has an hour. I have an hour. And I'm going to get really, really deep beyond like what is critical race theory, social emotional learning, data mining, what's wrong with our governor, all that stuff. We're really going to dig down deep and we're going to talk dirty. Let's talk about like the Carnegies and deals that were made with the Soviets in the 30s and then what Gorbachev and Reagan did in the 80s that's affecting us now. So that's kind of how Saturday is probably going to go down. But y'all have a blessed day. And I will be in the Senate, I believe, next week, speaking on the bill that Creed Deeds wrote, where they want to allow anybody with any charge or any combination of charge after 15 years to be able to apply to be released from prison. Any charge or any combination of charges. So, and I don't feel like crying or telling my story, but yeah, I have a story, and it's not my story. It's my mother's story about how heinously that is. So I'll be down in the Senate next week. Tomorrow I might take a day off, but keep in mind, I'm going to start doing these little recaps of truth so that people start getting a little uncomfortable. They start getting a little, maybe I could do this. So the next time they see something absolutely insane, because remember, go back and watch the Tucker video, is that it has to be called out for what it is, because our silence is what got us here. It's going to end very badly. So, truth speakers, not haters, people who just love their country and being free. Have a good one. Anybody who wants to hate on me publicly. I'm right here. Don't come at me sideways. I don't come at you sideways. Let's talk about it. You're always welcome, but you're always anonymous or hiding behind a keyboard. So anybody that wants to join up and do a dual side to side, let's debate this on here. But you won't. But if you want to, bring it. But they don't, and they won't, because I've invited everybody and their mother, and they want to hide behind anonymous poster or do the passive aggressive laugh emoji, because I have my Facebook. It might be public, but it is locked down. If you're not my friend, you can't comment, which they hate. Come on, let's talk about it. Nope. Okay. Didn't think so. So anybody that's welcome to hate on me, you can hate on me behind my back. I don't care. But if you want to talk and have conversations, let's do it. You just do it in a respectful manner. If you're talking like it's a lunacy, I hate saying lunatic, but if it's lunacy, I'm going to call it for what it is. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. Can you make that make sense for me? How does that apply as being an American? Is that free? Because I'm not going to sit here and be disrespected and have my rights raped away from me and my children. I'm not taking your rights. Oh, you don't have trans rights. They're human rights. Sorry. Oh, no, I'm not a transphobe for saying that. Are you a human? Oh, you are a human? Okay, then you have human rights. You don't have trans rights. There's no protected rights. Are there Black rights? Are there white rights? Are there Hispanic rights? I'm Iroquois, Indian, Dutch Jew. Like, do I have Iroquois rights? Because I come from two immensely oppressed people. Do I have zero rights? No, I'm a human. I have human rights. Because the first time I told somebody that there are no trans rights, I was called, you're the most hateful. Why? You don't get a protected class of rights. You're a human. Are you a human? You're a human being. Okay. You have human rights. You don't get your own. That's how we created protected classes. But by the way, Charlottesville, the first count division I've ever seen, just going through random thought, is they literally admit in one of their documents I read that they have transgender, their protected class. First time I've ever seen it. But hey, you get away with that kind of thing in Charlottesville, don't you? But so on that note, say what needs to be said as long as you have love in your heart and truth in your mouth. Stop censoring yourself and stop attempting to be politically correct. It is not possible. With that, I'm out.